The Atomic Real Estate Show, bringing you the real estate of real estate. Brought to you by Danny Bennett Productions in partnership with Direct Subs.
Hello, everybody. We're just going to give you a quick explanation as to why we haven't been posting as much content or releasing as much videos. The man behind the camera had an opportunity to purchase a house from me, and he had to work every hour that he could for the past 6 months. I took on a lot of jobs that he wouldn't have the time to do. So he took that on, sacrificed all of his spare time to work towards a goal, and he purchased a house that we're actually sitting in right now. So that's the explanation. We have plenty of episodes in the queue already that he has to edit and release, and we are starting to film new ones now. So as of now, moving forward, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at The Rook. You can reach them at The Rook Manioc on Instagram. They're located at 4001 Crescent Street. Our friends over at The Rook did not want us to focus on their business for the sponsorship, which speaks volumes about the character of the gentleman who owned The Rook. They wanted us to utilize this sponsorship to talk about their favorite nonprofit organizations to donate to. Number one is Steppin' with Stofir. You can reach them at Steppin' with Stofir on Instagram, and they are helping ease the financial burden of individuals going through cancer treatments. Number two is Sloan's Roses, at Sloan's Roses on Instagram. They're providing assistance to family members that have suffered or been affected by a child-related death, injury, loss, or tragedy. The other nonprofit organization is at Lisa's Army on Instagram, and they are comforting those battling cancer.
All right, guys, we are back. What's going on? It's Ryan Dolan here for another episode of the Atomic Real Estate Show, and we got Nick Cesna. We did a little intro on why we took the hiatus we did, but we're going to tell you a special one today, right? What we're in location on the cameraman's actual home. And we're going to tell you how we sourced it, how we put the deal together, what it is he does for, work, and how we could structure deals based on your income, all types of good stuff. So a real life scenario with numbers, a start to finish product, and all three parties interested are here today. So what's up, Nick? How you making out?
Good.
All right. So Nick is the first key player in this whole deal, right? So where we're at is a single family home in Roxborough that is beautiful, totally renovated. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms we got here, or 3 and 2?
3. It's 3, right? 3, 2.5, Danny?
We got a 3, 2.5, and top to bottom, garage, backyard. And you say, well, how do we get here? Because it wasn't like this a year ago when we first seen this place. There was a
wall right here.
Yeah, there was a wall right behind us. So you live local to the area, so this area is special interest to you. Yeah. So tell me how, for, again, our guest, what we want to go through today is what it is Nick does, how he sources his deals, and then how he facilitates those deals to buyers such as the camera guy, Danny Bennett, myself, the mortgage lender, and how we wrap this all up, get favorable terms, hook it all up. So we're going to run through it. So tell us how you identify a property or grab a property like this.
So this house came on the market on MLS, and for people to think like I only buy off-market houses, it's not the case. Like I buy houses on the market also. So this one, it's literally like 6 houses away from my house. My house is on the next street up, and you can see, like my house, you can see straight down this street. So I grew up in this neighborhood my whole life, right around the corner. I think we own or have owned, I think 14 properties in this little 1, 2, 3, like 6 block development, I guess you would call this. It was built in the late 40s through like 52. I think it was 49 to 52. One of my uncles was like one of the original buyers back here. I bought that house, flipped it years ago, but no, I don't want to get off track. So this house came on the market, a little overpriced for a normal flip. So I don't think most people are looking at this as a flip. They are Cape Cod style single homes. They're on 50 by 100 lots, most of them. This one has a driveway and a garage, backyard, front yard, side yards, all that shit. So they're all pretty much the same. The only options these houses came with were a small dormer and or finished bedrooms upstairs. So the second floors, none of them had bathrooms. You either had a small dormer pop up in the front, which is almost like unusable space anyway. It just allows another window for light up there. Yeah. And then whether or not the bedrooms were finished. They were the only options here. I believe the garages all the houses that have garages, I believe the people built them over the years.
Oh, nice.
And driveways. So they weren't even options. So this house came on the market. I want to say it was like, I should have wrote all the numbers down. I forget. I don't know if this was like 2.25 or 250. It might have been around 250 listed.
All right. So let's just say for our investors that are kind of looking here, we'll use 250 as the round number here with this house. And again, this was on market. So as a lot of our guests and listeners think, you know, you're a magician, you're a shark off market. Yeah. I mean, the guy sources, he outworks a lot of people sourcing, using his connections to source deals. But it's not always the case, right? It's an even playing field when it hits the market. So tell us, say this comes up for 250. What's the strategy here? Because you said it's not an ideal flip for most people.
No, I think most people wouldn't really look at this. It probably wasn't on most flippers' radars. I'll be honest with you, I bought it to prevent dirtballs from moving into a house 6 doors away from me and just painting the place. You know what I mean? Or like some shithead flipper.
Well, it's a lot of renters are happening, right?
Some
in the area.
shithead flipper from like doing a bullshit lipstick flip on this and then selling it and then fucking my comps up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, I own properties around here and I continue
so that's a
to buy
direct
around
impact
here.
to you if you allow.
So I don't want some asshole coming in here and fucking my game up.
So people think, all right, well, you're kind of almost like making who you kind of want to. No, you're protecting
my
the interest, your investment.
Protecting my
so
investments.
you said you had 13, 14 comps in this area.
Yeah.
Like that's your sweat equity. You have investments here. Your family lives here. So like why, if you have the ability not to allow the property values to decrease because you don't trust someone else's work,
Correct.
what they're going to do. Why not grab
or
it?
rent it like some, you know, you're seeing like faceless companies buy houses. There's one around the corner that they did. They're like somewhere out of like down south. They bought a property, did the absolute most bullshit fucking like renovations to it. You know, like bullshit flooring and like paint lipstick on a pig, left the old tile, like stuff like that, and then rented it out. And they rented it out for a year or two, realized that they weren't making any money. And then the equity didn't raise up that much because they didn't do the correct renovations. And now they're trying to dump it. And they're probably going to sell it for a loss.
They're out of market. They'll sell it for a loss, which you never see with anybody local, right? You're just not selling.
Or they might sell it for like what they bought it for. They overpaid for it at the time, and then now they're trying to sell it for more than it's worth, and it's not going to sell. But so I wanted to prevent that. And you know, I walk past here every day. You know, so I do my morning walks at 5:30, 5 in the morning. I'm walking around here on these hills, and you know, I'm like, I'm not gonna walk past this for sale sign and be like, fuck it. If I can make it work and I can upgrade the property, I bought this without giving a fuck if I made $1. I didn't give a shit.
So this was more. This was a unique situation. Like protect my special interest in the area.
Correct.
All right. Well, tell me the difference. Like off market, your numbers usually always make work, right? We have a format of that. We talked about it many times. There's.
You've seen it. You've walked through properties with me before, off market and on market, where I just pull this, you know, fancy computer that we have in our hands, and I'd use the calculator, and I go to the number that I think that I can make it worth, the ARV, the after repair value. There's a number. I minus I times 0.714, so 7.14% for the 5% for the realtors and 2.14% transfer tax on the out. I delete that number immediately. I look at it. What construction number do I need? I put that in there, and I put my minimum profit margin in there, and I delete that. That gives me my maximum allowance number that I can purchase it for. And you've seen that before, and I think you even made a comment. You're like, it's this fucking simple to you?
Yeah.
It's math, bro. It's just math. Like, you know, we went to school together for all those years, and they told us, you know, we had to know all this math and stuff. We're not going to have a computer in our pockets to do it. Well, that's fucking bullshit, right? Because we do.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple. It's simple math, and I back the number out. It gives me my maximum allowance that I can purchase that property for with my minimum profit margin. Now, I've established that number. Now, that number, anything I get it under that, that's gravy.
Yeah.
That's all icing on the cake. That's where I make my money.
Okay.
That's how I make my money. That's the difference between me and other flippers. I won't go below that number. There's my minimum profit margin, right? I won't go below that. And you've seen me walk away from a deal for $1,000.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm not paying it.
So it kind of
There's my number. There's the line in the sand. That's it.
Well, then it makes me think, like, what are some of the other investors and flippers doing wrong? Are they paying too much? Are they over budgeting for the work?
And they get involved. They get involved emotionally. So once they emotionally get involved into a project, they start to justify the higher number during the negotiations. Well, then I don't have to do this to the property, and I'll sacrifice this and I'll sacrifice that. They start getting emotions involved because they're thinking of, I just want the project, as opposed to, this is the money, the minimum money that I'll do this for and make money on. And they don't do that. And then they start sacrificing. And then how many stories have we heard where people made 10 grand,
Yeah, you
or
tie up
didn't,
4, 5,
lost,
6
or
months.
lost
Yeah,
30
and you
grand,
make
lost 40
nothing.
grand. And here's the other thing. People that we know that are in trades and that have trades or other jobs. And you've heard me say this to people all the time. Focus on what you're doing. Do what you're doing, because could you flip a house and make a couple extra dollars? Sure. But then when things go wrong, right? You're not tallying all the hours that you spent, all the hours that it took you away from your job. Like it would take you away from selling mortgages.
Sure.
And doing mortgages for people, because you have to be here. You have to be dealing with contractors. You have to be dealing with material stuff, all this other bullshit, problems that arise. It's taking you away from your normal job. So how much money did you really make?
Sure.
Because it took you away from your normal stuff that's making you more money. So the time that you spent there, most people are losing money that are doing stuff. They don't realize it.
Yeah, I completely I did it in a past life, kind of, when everybody kind of got in that flipping, and it's great to make money.
Sounds sexy.
And get cash in. But after a while, the lifestyle part of it's hard, and the management part is even harder, right? But again, it's a simple mathematic breakdown, and you just kind of have these principles that you don't break, which leads you to say, like, okay, well, you bought this place, then you're not doing it for really much profit. You're kind of protecting the assets in the area. So then what's the thought process? All right, I'm going to grab this place. I'm going to get a decent family in here, somebody, that we can, otherwise maybe not afford a mortgage or qualify for a mortgage, and make them become a buyer.
So when I bought this, I ran it past my wife. I'm like, yo, listen, because we're a team, we're partners and all this stuff. So I was like, listen, here's the deal. And she was like, you don't even need to say nothing else to me. I know what you're doing. Like, that's the point of our relationship.
Sure.
Like, we've been in it for so long now, and the point in our business.
Well, you're not buying it to lose money. We know that, right?
And she was like, she actually said, she's like, how much you going to lose? And I was like, I ain't going to lose anything. And she was like, okay.
Yeah, you're just getting through.
She was like, does it matter what I say at this point? I'm like, no, not really.
Deal's done.
And she was like, all right, sign it, do it.
So then what gets the gear spinning? Do you already have a buyer in mind a lot of times? You hit me up, so it is what we do a lot of times is I get the next phone call, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of start brainstorming, and Nick will ask me, well, who do you have that's kind of borderline, or really, really a motivated buyer, but has some pain points as far as rate, cash to close, things like that. Because what we do is we curate these deals to make it work financially for our buyer. Now, within means, obviously, and within whatever guidelines. But how do you do that? So you grab this property, you identify it, and then what's the next step?
Sign the agreement to sell. Like, once I sign the agreement to sell, like you're usually one of my first calls. I'll shoot you a call. Yo, just signed one. And by my house. You got anybody looking for one? Right now, I think it was like a 4-bedroom. I think this was a 4-1, and it had some funky ass half bathroom upstairs. That was the smallest, weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't know if Danny has footage of that, but he can roll it. It was goofy as shit. I think even when I looked at it originally, I think when you were here, I think I might have had to kick the door in after I owned it, because we could barely get it open. So I just smashed the door in. But it was a weird little goofy house. So I called you, yo, I have options of this, because touching back on what I said, like, most people want to look at this as an investment opportunity. I've done so many of these back here, and I've done different styles of additions on these things, with masters on the first floor, or full blown. Like, my house has 3 stories. I went up 3 with 2 more stories on top of mine, cantilevered out. And then I've done ones where it has back additions, just back dormers, a mixture of a back dormer and a front dormer. I've done so many different layouts here that we can kind of like tailor it to who's
so you
the
almost
buyer.
have a package, say like A, B, C, and D, kind of in a plus minus, where you know what you're going to make. Like, hey, we're going to keep this at Cape Cod. We're not blowing out a roof. This is kind of what the net profit will be.
I think I called you. You were like, I'll hit my client list. Let you know, because I'm always keeping you advised of what we're doing. So I hit up Danny. I'm like, yo, I got a house right up the street from your grandma's house, and right between your grandma's house and my house. And he's like, which one? And I tell him, he's like, the one with the driveway and a garage. And at that moment when he said that, I was like, he wants this fucking house.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because he was like, he like knew where it was. He was like, oh man. And then he's like, I think he's like, I don't even realize if he knew, he was like almost like talking to himself. He's like, I got like 6 months in a lease. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker's putting himself in this house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, let's come film it. So he looks at it and he's like, yo, I want this house. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. So then call you. And I'm like, yo, Danny wants this crib. And he's self-employed. I mean, you know, Danny's whole thing, which is a fucking nightmare to lend to.
Well, you think that's the common misconception.
It is for mortgage lenders that don't know
what they're doing
and don't have the experience to think outside of the box. If you went to a bank and said, hey, I want to buy this, he'd probably get pushed away, or he'd be at the bottom of the list because it's just too much work for a mortgage officer.
Or he's just not explaining exactly kind of how he makes his money, how he claims it. So these are great calls, right? Like I get excited when Nick gives me these calls. One, it's because it kind of just comes together, right? And it's like in a market where inventory is extremely low, rates are extremely high, you create value to the client. So Nick calls me up. You know, we don't love getting the, hey, we got self-employed borrowers, and, you know, but we like to hear, you know, good credit score. They are working, they file their tax returns. So not everybody's a W-2 employer. That's where our expertise come in, right? If you are a self-employed borrower, if you get cash, you know, under the table, there's financing options, right? So what we did,
and not to interrupt, but let's call something out real quick. Most business owners that we know don't file to the T of what they're actually making.
Yeah, and which, you know, that's, I guess, within the laws of whatever IRS.
And if you are a business owner, you know exactly what I'm saying without really getting too deep into
and it's like, look, you pay more taxes, you have more purchasing power because these are government insured loans. A lot of cases, self-employed buyers are always worried about the next job, right?
And
They're
usually
always,
it takes them a little bit of time. Like, hey, it should be a conversation like, hey, Dolan, I'm thinking about buying a house next year. You're like, all right,
12 to 24
let's talk
month
to your
process,
accountant.
yes.
Let's start claiming more stuff. Let's start paying more taxes. Let's start getting more appealing as a person for a lender.
Dead on. Because
Correct?
what we do is we then reach
You
out
didn't
to,
have that opportunity in this case.
No, in this case, I certainly did not. So what we do is we kind of look at everything and say, okay, well, if a self-employed borrower can qualify on his own, great. If he cannot, which is generally the case, right? Because they're not set up to buy. If your LLC and your business has been established for 5 or more years, we only need 1 year history. So that's a 12-month, that's an expedited plan. If it's less than that, you're going to need a 2-year history. So we prep with the CPA, the accountant, the business owner, and we say, hey, I know it's going to sting. Maybe you're not going to be able to, you know, bring in as much net as you want, but you're going to be able to buy a home. And
Plus,
then
a growing younger business, you're utilizing write-off opportunities.
Yes,
Nothing
correct.
wrong with it, right?
Nothing wrong with it.
You're
Gotta do it.
You're reinvesting in the business. You're buying equipment. You're buying materials. Full write-off stuff, which lessens what you actually look like you make on paper.
correct. Yes. So it's like the catch-22,
Not as
right?
appealing to a
you're
lender.
doing the right thing because you're just trying to get your business flowing, right? Cash flowing. At the same time, though, you're shrinking your purchasing power, which a lot of people don't know. And especially self-employed business owners, right? They have that entrepreneurial spirit. They don't like being told no. So when they call us and we say, hey, no, we got to do A, B, or C, they don't like it. And you better have the ammunition and the problem solving to tell them that, because that's where we get the bad reputation. Like, hey, we don't know what we're doing with self-employed business owners. No, you have to set the expectation. You have to discuss exactly what's going to work. Now, they don't always work out. Sometimes some self-employed business owners are a mess.
We were standing in this room when I I think the day I fucking purchased it, we're standing in this room because it was already established that Danny wanted it. I call you here. We meet here with Danny and we're standing right the fuck here. I remember we're standing here. I'm probably fucking with you about like fucking, you know, wearing like tight suits and shit and stuff.
Always does.
And Danny's cracking up laughing. And then me and you are talking about the deal. Danny's like walking around like, what the fuck? Like a kid in a candy shop, like looking around like, how are they going to do all this stuff? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And he's like looking around like, what the fuck? And me and you start talking and we're like, what about this option? What about this option? Boom, boom, boom. I'm spitballing different ideas to you. You're spitballing different ideas to me. And we're like, yep, that'll work, or this will work. We had like 2 to 3 plans. We're like, yep, this would work for his lending capabilities. And these things would work. There's all sorts of different avenues that we can go down. And if you're looking for a house, you get in touch with Dolan, and you even kick ideas to me because I think a little bit differently than you, and you think a bit differently.
Yeah, it's a good counterbalance for sure.
So Danny's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And we're talking about getting you a lending secured, so shut the fuck up. Like, he was just like, hey, whatever you guys come up with, cool. And we were like, yeah, all right. So we came up with ideas, and then you worked those different options out with him. And we're like, hey, this is the best one for Danny. This is the way we're going to go. Cool. Let me know what you need to do.
And really, that's it. So, like, one, my referral source in this deal is Nick. I have to make sure Nick gets, and his team meet all their financing needs. That way I can get more of his deals, right? So he gets what he wants. Then it's my job to take the client and say, okay, what do you need? Let's see your whole profile. Now let's, in this example, use a self-employed business owner, right? Business has been established for over 5 years. We're killing it. We're doing weddings. We're doing events. I mean, we're just one of the hottest young photographer, groups out there, or digital marketing. Danny Bennett Productions, everybody knows. You guys do so much stuff, it's way out of my pay grade. But Danny tries to keep the business alive. He keeps trying to hire people and maybe buy equipment, and you got to utilize the tax write-offs.
Ain't cheap that he's buying.
So what are the options? So Danny comes to us, right? And self-employed business owners are generally close on your debt to income. So we got to figure out, okay, well, rates are elevated at this time. We're buying in the summer. They're in the sevens. What can we do? Hey, can we elevate the sales price? Just, maybe 10 grand and maybe give them 15 grand to buy down the rate. This is where Nick gives back, right? Gives a little back. He's still making, his nut and what he needs to pay his crew, but he's able to give the consumer a little something extra, right? Because the quality of work, the appraisal value is there. That's always the most important deal. That's going to be the next one. Real estate agents are going to say, well, what if it doesn't appraise? Well, if you got a good flipper and you know the comps and you acquired it right and you do the work at the right price, it's not an issue for us, right? We don't run into low appraisals.
I wasn't even worried about that.
Yeah, we're not doing guesswork here. This is like real calculated stuff. So then Danny comes to us or just say borrower A and whatever their pain points are. In his case, get the rate down. So we get the guy's interest rate down. If there's some left over, you could throw it towards cash to close. Yeah. There's so many different options you can do with it. And these moves help move the market, because otherwise, if he's looking on Zillow at this particular house before you buy it, it's not even, you can't get it. You're not getting it. You're not using a construction loan. It's too much work that it's involved. So these parties help facilitate that deal. And people always ask me like, well, how do you guys do it? This is just kind of one of them. You take the risk, you communicate with one another, super transparent. And if it works, it works. I mean,
and the appraiser here, I didn't know him. Usually you'll run into with doing as many transactions that I've done, you'll run into appraisers. I didn't know. I don't know that I knew him. Like, I didn't recognize his name or nothing like that. And he was calling me like, oh, when can I get in? I'm like, God, dude, I'm like, we're gonna be down to the wire here.
Yeah.
Like I think I had like floors being stained the one day he wanted to come, like, you can't come. And then like paint. And then he was like, all right, you just let me know when you're ready. Cool. Thank you. Like, you have comps and all? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, and then he was like, I'm familiar with your work and I'm familiar with the area. Cool. Right? Good. So then, like, I didn't even meet him in person or nothing. I was just like, yo, it's on lockbox. You have any questions, you let me know. He came in, did his thing, texted me when he was done. Hey, I'm done. House is locked up. All good. Thanks for your time. Thank you. Like, and then like they get back to you and Danny. You're like, hey, it appraised. You call me like, yo, it appraised. Like, yeah, I fucking know.
Which again,
I wasn't worried about it.
We're not worried about it, right?
Yeah.
We've done so many transactions together. Again, not guesswork. This is like a formulated process that we come up with. So you're not going to promise a borrower a low interest rate, cash to close, promise them the world if the margins aren't there, right? Because the first thing that goes is the rate and the money, right? Yeah. Because the builder still has to make theirs. So, the interesting part about this one, this just kind of came together because as we were filming, it kind of came, and stopped our filming. But, again,
that's the other thing. Like, Danny had to sacrifice. Like, Danny had to really take on a lot more.
Hit every wedding, hit every, I had him do so many events for us.
He had to take on stuff that he normally wouldn't because he sacrificed all his free time as a younger man. Your free time is important to you. He's, he doesn't have kids yet or anything like that. So he couldn't, ride around in his side-by-side and dirt bikes and have fun and do all that stuff like he was doing. He wasn't going on trips. Like, all right, well then, vacation's delayed this year, not going on vacation. The dude worked nonstop to the point where we had to slow down the production of this podcast. And we all agreed, like, all right, cool. If that's what Danny needs to do to to better his life, cool. We're like nobody, all four of us, like
It was
all
an
the
easy
three, we're just
decision
like,
because
yeah,
we talk about it every day, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, we got a live one right in our backyard.
Yeah.
So then, kind of what we did
So
is
he sacrificed.
He
Like, and a lot
sacrificed.
of people don't want to do that nowadays. Like you have a lot of people, and we see the finances of people that are buying a lot of homes from us, and they're living beyond their means. Danny was like, all right, this is going to be tight. I need to save up extra money. I need to do this. And he literally took all of his spare time and devoted it to more production into things that he was going to make money off of.
More
And
production,
hustled his ass off.
you know, maybe paying down debt or two, some clients can do. But what we like to do is the numbers, right? Like, so if just, I guess in the earlier example, if we say flip this thing for, just call it $500,000, right? It's a beautiful single family home. A first time home buyer can get in here for 3% down, man. That's $15,000. And in a case like this, you can get all the closing costs paid for if you get the numbers right? And if you guys come to meet. Now, we're in a market where seller's assist was not a thing for 5 years, not at all.
No.
Flipping back a little bit, but these deals give you a little more wiggle room to kind of make it work.
Well, it's off market. It's an
off-market,
off market
right?
sale. So we can manipulate those things as we want. And honestly, I don't think Danny thought that this was a possibility for him.
Most people don't when they come to us. I got to
He
say.
was like, I think that he was shocked that he had the ability to purchase basically a $500,000 house and, live in one, a single family house, like kind of a forever home.
Sure.
And, this isn't really a starter home per se.
No, for sure.
So like, and it was right up street from his grandma. I think the only person happy about this deal is Danny's grandma.
Sure.
Like I think I made this grandma the happiest woman in the
Yeah,
world right
yeah,
now.
sure.
So you have that. He has his family close by, but I don't think that he thought as a younger man that this was an obtainable purchase.
Well, because you hear, fully renovated home, you single family, and it's crazy because these guys.
He also gets to see what we're selling homes for.
Sure. Yeah,
So
he
he's
gets to see all the special
man,
sauce.
and
yeah.
he always says, like, every video that he does at a house, he's like, man, I can't wait to buy one of these homes from you. Like,
and then it gets to get,
because he always says, like,
quick,
everything
right?
Jen does, he's like, everything Jen picks, yeah, I'm cool with.
Yeah.
Like, and even here, he was like, I said, do you want anything special or anything like that? And he was like, yeah, whatever Jen wants, I'm cool with.
That's
And
great.
was
Well,
like,
I mean,
awesome.
obviously not always the case, which challenges the deal a little more. But in this case, it was a great one, right? So then I go to the client and I say, what's your pain point? Do you need lower cash to close? Do you need lower rate? Generally, the answer is both, right? But some are realistic about it. They tell you where they want to be monthly wise. They tell you, and we see if we can do it. And then you bring it to them and say, hey, this is what you're looking like income wise. This is what your debts look like. And here goes the monthly and cash to close. What hurts? And then we go through how we can make it not hurt anymore. And then within 25, 30 days, the deal's closing. Yeah. And this guy goes from, and most of our clients go from paying crazy rents, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in rent to less to move into a home that's theirs.
And then after it closed, like after the mortgage, the loan was all done and everything, me and Danny were able to work out a deal. We're like, hey, I'll give you extra stuff and you're going to trade me videography work and all that stuff. Like, so the videography work. So we were able to trade.
Yeah, you
stuff.
barter
so
stuff.
So it was like, hey, I'm going to upgrade
another.
you from a regular water heater to a tankless hot water heater. So with a tankless hot water heater, you could basically, so a regular water heater, right? So this is probably going to resonate with a lot of women. You take a shower or other people take a shower and then the hot water runs out. That's a regular water heater.
Yep.
So a tankless water heater it's just on demand. So you could turn the shower on, hottest setting, go on vacation for 2 weeks, come back. As long as there's gas to burn for that water heater, that shower's still running with hot water. So like that's an upgrade for them. Closets, like nicer closet stuff.
Sure,
I was able to do stuff in there for them. Just some
things
other,
behind the walls and finishing
stuff.
touches
Then my
that
guys came in and
otherwise
hung
would take a bunch of
TVs
money.
and shit for them and shit like that. You know what I mean? At like dirt cheap prices and stuff like that. So it's like, I was able to do things like now I'm not doing that for everybody. Let's make that clear. But he's a good friend of mine. So like we were able to work some stuff out. But like other people, if they're like, hey, can we upgrade to this? And I'm like, sure. If you're gonna pay me for it, no problem. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And I don't even like really care about like making money on stuff like that. Like if it's you want a certain washer dryer, like, hey, I really like this washer dryer. Okay, cool. Or like there's a fridge and a dishwasher in here and it's this brand. You're like, hey, I really want this one. Well, these ones cost me this. If these ones cost this much more, just pay me the difference and no problem. I don't make money on that type of shit. I don't care.
Yeah, so we're not giving away things. We're
Yeah.
working together
Yeah.
for a common goal to kind of make things work, and everybody leads the transaction. And I know, well, maybe we'll get a one-on-one with Danny later, but
Yeah.
I think it couldn't have went any better. And again, this is what we do every day. So it's like working with who you know, using your local connections, and the client ultimately trusting the process, right? Because that's one of the harder parts. If a flipper's in it to make money, in the eyes of the consumer, they're out to make a lot of money. And it's not always the case, right? It's to facilitate a deal to protect, in this case, your investments in the area. But
Even the blinds, like I was like, Danny, like, I'm going to treat this like any other deal. Like, I don't provide blinds in a situation like this house, like a single family house. But talk to Jen, and Jen was like, Danny, these are the blinds you want to use whatever it was, blinds to go or something like that. Call this number. This is the product number that you want. Boom, they came out, and that's what's on the windows now. Like,
Yeah.
So like she helped him with that, but he's paying for that type of shit. Like that's what normal homeowners are doing.
Yeah, but again, we make it easier. And that's
Yeah.
the whole point of, why we came back for this show in this location. It's to show our guys, hey, this market's challenging. We know it's challenging. It's been for a long time. But some of our first-time home buyers are hitting absolute home runs. They're done paying rent. They're done living with low credit scores. They're saving cash, building equity, and it's all through using the bank's money. Like, it's not really, you don't have to go out of your pocket as much as you think to buy a $500,000 home. So back to those numbers. In this case, this episode is brought to you by the Adams Group. The Adams Group is a longtime Philadelphia real estate team that helps buyers find the right home, investors find hidden opportunities, and the sellers maximize their price with their years of insight in Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs. They've built their reputation on honest and client-forward work. You can connect with Keith Adams via phone at 215-605-1027. He's on Instagram at the Adams Group Market, and his website is adamsgroupcompass.com. Yeah, getting back to the numbers, just on this one, because our buyers always want to know, and our listeners always want to know about the cash, right? Just take $500,000, take $500,000. First-time home buyer can use 3.5% credit pending on the loan. $15,000 in this example is your down payment. Well, if the buyer's problem is cash to close, we figure out if we can have the number work where they can get cash to close. You can buy a house for $15,000. We've bought our clients' houses for nothing out of pocket before. They've gotten checks back before. There's plenty of ways to do this. And now if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I had the cash, but I don't show the income. All right, that's another call that you have to make to us, because there's so many different ways to obtain mortgage financing.
Were you surprised? Danny, but you're behind the camera, and obviously nobody can hear you, but were you surprised by the amount, like the little amount of money that you actually had to come out of pocket to buy this house?
100%. That the number of the list, like the number you told me, scared me until you told me what I needed up front.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we run down, and we'll be transparent, because look, in the city of Philadelphia, it is not cheap to buy a home. Transfer tax is a killer. Both buyer and seller pay for it. Homeowners insurance is expensive. So we like to go through all line items with our clients. So we don't get surprised. We know what we're looking at. We know what we're going to have ready at settlement. Cash doesn't need to be there in settlement. There's plenty of different options to get cash. There's bridge financing. We can go through all those. But what I'm worried about is a neighborhood of people that may not think that, hey, I can't qualify for that based off my income. Well, if you have cash, there's debt service coverage loans. If you have an LLC, you can do non-QM mortgages. There is so many different options. The two things that you want to make sure that you have in line all the time is your credit. Obviously, you're going to personal guaranteed any of these loans. So any lending institution you go to, you have to pay your bills, right? Like, that's just common sense, math 101. People, that's the only call we get where we're like, yeah, we can't make things up. We can help you with your credit. We can send you to our people, but your financial literacy and paying your bills is paramount to this whole process. The second is have your docs in line, right? Like, you'd be surprised how many of us don't know what we make, what we hold, what our credit looks like. These things are important. And I know it's daunting, but you got to have your docs in line, right?
It's weird. It's weird filling out these personal financial statements, and you're like, oh, so that's what I'm worth to the world?
Because it feels embarrassing, right? Like, you feel like you don't feel like a number. I sure shit don't feel like a number, but the world makes you feel like a number.
Sure.
Banking makes you feel like a number because it is all numbers. Right?
And as a business owner, especially doing what I do with investing large sums of money, my bank account is like this.
Up, down, up, down.
So like my lady always says, it's chicken or feathers. One day you're eating chicken, next day you're eating feathers, baby.
Yeah.
So it's you just got to roll with it. That's the business that we're in.
It's feast or famine a lot of times. And what we do is, like, to your point, if bank account, we have bank statement loans. There's all types of loans you can do.
There's DSCR loans.
DSCR loans are one of our favorite, right? Like, say in this example, if the borrower didn't qualify based off their income, off their self-employed income, but he's got cash, right? He's got a business. He could have purchased this home as an investment property, used it, rented out based off the rental income. That wasn't the goal here. Obviously, he wanted this as a primary residence. So our goal was find it, how to do it as a primary residence. And we did it at 3% down. We got him in here at a rate below market, cash to close less than any other would have put together, just because of our connections with the builder.
I mean, the best deals that we've ever been able to give people are when they come to me directly, like, hey, I see this house you're doing on Instagram. This is, that's the area that I want. I'd really want it. Okay. You're approaching me where I don't have to pay realtors, right?
And that's not always the case, right?
No,
because a lot of agents call me all the time and say, dude, what you guys are doing doesn't seem right. And I'm like, why? If that person comes to us with a buyer's agent, we absolutely let them represent that client. We never, ever, ever have cut someone out of the deal.
But if you don't have an agent,
it just works in your favor more.
You don't necessarily need one in this case, because my wife's reviewing all the paperwork for me for free and doing all the paperwork for me anyway. So it's
she's a licensed agent, by the way.
She's reviewing all the agreements of sale that come to me anyway. Whether it's if another agent brings me a deal off market, if you bring me a deal that I can then flip that house, that is yours. So you have
you give them the outsell.
You can have at least 3 sides of a deal instead of one. So you have both sides of the sale when you're selling the initial house, and then at least one side of the sale on the out when I'm done with it. So even in those cases, my wife, Jen's a stickler on paperwork.
Sure.
She reviews every single paperwork, and she'll be like, send us back to agent. This isn't worded right.
So this is a PSA for the agents. Don't take this whole thing as we're cutting you out. Get in with us, right?
Yeah.
Because
if you weren't involved with us anyway,
if you weren't involved,
nobody out.
But you have agents all the time that call you, say they
Yes.
see your work on Instagram.
Yep.
Hey, I just want an opportunity to sell your place. And if this person sells their place, they're in the roster now. And it's like, that's all they did. They helped you sell a place. They called you. They got you at the right time. They took a chance. The worst you could say, you could say a lot of bad things, but the worst you could say is no.
Listen, if an agent comes to me, a younger agent, and they're like, hey, this is what I fucking hate though. I hate when people set up actual showings acting like it's a showing that they're showing clients. I know you're not showing clients. I have fucking cameras on properties.
They're setting a meeting up with you?
No, not with me. They're setting up a showing like they're showing a client. Jen fucking hates this when they do this. And then they come into the house and they take videos of the house and they put it out there, and they don't even like tag us or give us credit in that it's our house or that it's whatever listing agent that I have listing it.
Sure.
They don't. You're a dirtbag. Like, that's just grimy.
It's
right?
like smoke and mirrors stuff,
yeah,
right? You're posing this as your
fugazi.
listing, and you're not
bullshit.
giving credit to
now,
anybody that
if
made it
somebody hit me up and said, hey, or hit Jen up, or just scheduled it as a agent preview, okay, that's showing that you don't have clients there. We're not going to waste our time calling you back. Hey, how was your showing? Did your clients like it? Asking for feedback, all that shit. We know you're just there previewing it. Okay, say that. And then I have people hit me up like, hey, can I walk through one of your properties? Can I put some content out there? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be done anyway. Yeah.
Because you're asking me, hey, can I enter your property? Can I put out content? They know that it's not their listing. As long as you're not trying to portray it as your listing. If you want to be vague about it, okay, fucking tag us. But like, you can put that out there and look busier than you are, or look to your clients, hey, these are some properties out here that are on the market. Cool. But fucking be upfront about it.
These things matter, right? Because say if I'm agent one and I call you and I say I'm gonna put your content up on this East Falls property. Blah,
now
blah,
you've
blah.
established
now
a relationship.
Established a relationship with you. So when an
Fantastic.
offer comes through on your desk, you're gonna say, "Oh damn, agent one already did his due diligence. He called me professional." And if they're eye to eye,
a stand-up guy or
you're
girl.
gonna take that. It's common sense,
honest.
right?
Now,
They're being honest.
Now, if you have gone into my properties, set it up like it's a showing. I know you weren't there with clients because I could see it on the fucking cameras that you're not there with clients. And then you're putting out videos.
I did not know this all went down, by the way.
You're doing your Instagram fucking videos and you're portraying it like it's your listing. Well, I now don't take you serious. because you're
even though that doesn't seem like a hustle to you, a hustle in a good way where they're trying to they're just showing their worth.
They're a selfish person, right? And here's the reason. I don't trust you if you do stuff like that. Now, if you're upfront about it and you're like, hey, put a video out there, or you hit me up, and I've had agents hit me up like, hey, I just showed one of your properties. I saw it before on Instagram. Great work, looks good. Hope to do business with you one day. I look at that person differently. Like, oh wow, they're a stand-up human being.
Sure.
Right? It's that simple. They're establishing a relationship. If you are just going in there and portraying things like it's not, it's your listing when it's not, I don't trust you.
So you're going to work that way through the transaction.
You're not
anyway.
a stand-up human being in my mind.
Plus, you're not on the team, right?
I'm a. This is what you get. If you don't like it, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very honest person, so it's like what I say is what I'm going to do. So like, my word is my bond.
Yeah.
People like to do shit like that. Their word is not their fucking bond. Their word doesn't mean shit to me.
Okay. Understood.
You know what I mean? That's just how I look at those people. Now, there might be people doing that don't realize that sellers look at them like a joke, and they might watch this and say, oh shit, I didn't realize that sellers.
I got to be honest. I didn't even really look at it. I mean, I know it. Like, hey, that's not their listing.
I think you're a fucking joke.
I thought it was more like, okay, they're showing the initiative that they're out there actually working. They're doing their thing. But again,
honestly, I don't even give a fuck if you tag me in it. Hit me up and say, hey, I'm putting content out of one of your properties. Cool.
Well, why wouldn't you do it anyway, agents? Because one, you might find out whatever you need to do to win the deal for your client. There could be special incentives. There could be tidbits that you need to know to help you facilitate a deal.
If you are like a person that's doing that is very social media based.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you tag people? Because then I'm going to repost your shit, reshare it that you were walking through my properties, right? Then, because it's just free content for me, then people that follow me might follow you.
Yeah.
So like,
understood.
It's just like the whole fugazi thing of like portraying something that you're doing that you're not doing like that. I don't know. I don't trust people like that.
It's hard in our world. Trust me, because these real estate agents, I mean,
I'm big on relationships. I'm big on establishing relationships, open lines of communication, and trust.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, not every agent, maybe they're intimidated by coming to these developers.
And I don't want to do business with those type of people.
I guess that makes sense.
I don't want to do business with those.
Yeah, so the key is pick the damn phone up, call the builder, find out some good information and if you don't like it, just say, hey, do you mind if I share some content? I'm going to advertise this on my Instagram. I'd love to grab a coffee with you. Boom. You just set a meeting up with a builder.
I also hate like the bullshit, like texting or like emailing. And it's like, if you DM me and you're like, hey, are you available for a call one day? Yeah, sure, man. Like,
yeah, just pick up the phone.
I'm available this time. Like, give me a call. Like,
no one's that busy.
It's never a good fucking time for being on the phone, but whatever. Like, give me a call. And like, I'll talk to people. I don't give a fuck.
You have to.
Yeah,
right?
I'll talk to you.
That's kind of how it goes. And look, and again, we always bring agents into the folds, and there's new agents selling different, and they bring us different ideas. Hey, I have a pipeline full of people that need this, and we kind of work towards it.
Whenever people hit me up, potential buyers, like, hey, I want one of these houses, my response to them is usually always the same. Are you currently working with an agent? Are you currently working with a mortgage loan officer? Are you pre-approved? I ask those three things. If you say yeah, and I ask, are you working with an agent and have you signed anything? That's what I respond back to people. Not working with an agent, or like, I know of an agent. Okay, you're not working with an agent, right? No agent. You haven't wasted any agent's time. Now, if they lie to me, I can't control that agent. So, and then if we're working with a loan officer, who are you working with? Oh, well, I was going to go through Bank of America. Stop immediately. Don't do that. Like,
you do that. You say that.
I say that.
Okay.
I tell people right away, hey, I have a handful of mortgage people that you can reach out to. And I'll say, here you go. Reach out to these people. Like, I've had people ask me before, and you've said, oh, hey, how come these people use these people? Because I know a couple mortgage guys, and if I didn't know these people, I'll say, reach out, get pre-approved, right?
Sure.
You're usually my first choice. I say, hey, call my buddy Dolan, get pre-approved. But other people, I'm like, hey, I understand you may know Dolan. Some people don't.
Some people don't like doing business in your backyard.
They might not want to put their finances out to people.
What we like to do is, in this case, trust me, we don't win them all, and we don't want to win them all. Some people you like doing business with, some people don't like doing business. But what you like to do is give your blessing, right? Say, who are you working with?
Yep.
Where are you working? You usually go local, right? So if somebody's buying in a different, Ambler, Glenside. I know some of the guys you'll use out there. They're more locally based, and that's the game, and I'm okay with that, right? Sure. There's enough to go around. This is my backyard, and I'd be highly pissed off if someone else was in it doing deals, right? So I would see any other professional in a different market. There's a ton of business. It's all about showing your worth as a lender. And guess what? If you can't do it, you give your blessing. You say, hey, this guy put together great terms for you. This is killer. Go with it. Call me when you're ready for a refinance if they drop the ball. And
Like
that's it.
people like it's happened in the past where people are like, hey, you working with an agent? Oh yeah, we know Tommy Mellett. You know Tommy?
Tommy's
I know
great
Tommy.
guy.
I'm like, Tommy's a great fucking lender. You tell Tommy to call me when you're ready.
Awesome.
Like he's a good dude. Like, and I know Tommy's like you. If Tommy calls me and he's like, hey, I have a buyer. They're qualified for this. They want one of your stuff. I know that deal's going to go through.
Always, right?
So that gets right to the top of the list.
Sure. And that's why I call and look, as lenders, we call builders real estate agents all the time and say, hey, like if I put an offer in on one of your places, one of my people, and we lose it. It's rarely the case because that's a different story. But if we do put one in, I'll call the listing agent and I'll call the builder and say, hey, this is Ryan from Citywide. Yeah. I just want to let you know you're going to be seeing my pre-approvals a lot more. I'd love to grab coffee with you, hear a bit more about your business. Builders don't want to grab coffee with you. They want to say, find me a buyer. And I'll bring them a freaking buyer.
We've had deals where it's these big banks, these big, huge, nationwide corporation banks, and they have an offer that's in on their property. One of your people through an agent or somebody, but you're the lender, has an offer on the property, and yours is $5,000 to $10,000 less. I go with your deal because I know that one's not going to close in time. I know these big banks want 30 to 45 to 50 to 60 days, or they're pushing back and pushing back. And if you don't have an agent that knows that big bank and it has a loan officer there that they're pressing, it's not fucking happening.
It's not going to work.
So like,
right?
I know if you're like, yo, I can have these people wrapped up and close in 20 days of titles back. I know that's the truth because you've never fucked me over.
Yeah. Why overpromise and underdeliver, right? Like I done that early in my career. Like all people always do, right? They want to not setting the proper expectations is death in our job, right? If you set improper expectations, expect your phone to ring, your sleep to be affected, your family life to be affected, because you're not being transparent about what's going to take place in the next 20 or 30 days. It's so much easier if you say, guys, I don't control the rates. Here it goes. I'm transparent. I show like we make money off the loan amount. Like that's what it is. So, but again, all these different kind of financing and people we work with, that's kind of the whole point of this episode, right? It's like, how do we take someone that wasn't really looking, that maybe documentation wasn't in line to his liking, or he didn't know. If you don't know, call. There's no way to understand your credit and your income without calling a financial professional. You just won't figure it out.
This ended up just being a great deal for everybody.
This was a wonderful deal. It took on the lending side, right? Like it gets hairy sometimes, and it always does, right? But you want to make sure a few things. The borrower's credit is well qualified. The income and documentation is in line, and your appraisal's tight. Other than that, like build a good team, homeowners insurance, real estate agent, builder and lender, and then you really have no problems. It's when you start cutting corners in a $500,000 transaction, well, you're going to get that kind of service, and it sucks. And there's nothing worse than that, because when you're dropping that much coin, it should be flawless. Right?
I mean, that's the thing too. Like these properties that we put out, we stand by them, and then these end up being like situations like these and other ones that we've done. We've done so many of them where they're off market sales to people. They end up being such a happier, friendlier transaction.
Totally agree.
Because then you don't have the whisper down the lane bullshit where, you have an inspection, the home inspector has to put his thing on it, whatever. It might scare the buyer. You don't have an agent that has the ability to reel the client in from being scared by this home inspection. And then, it's just it
feels a lot less like you guys versus us. It feels like more of a collaboration.
It's less transactional. Yeah. It becomes more personal, and it becomes like there's faces in the deal and all that stuff. And it's, when in these transactions, like every single house that we've done where it's a personal transactional type stuff, like I just explained, off market sale, the people are so much happier.
Yeah, I mean,
because you don't have all the bullshit.
There's not enough. There's
happening.
not all the chefs and the cooks in the kitchen.
Everybody's in such a better mood. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people walk in here so happy in the house. I always say to agents, like, you trying to put your spin on things to like, and I'll see agents like brag online. Well, I got this money knocked off after a home inspection, and I got this done. And it's like, you've just made my list that I don't want to do transactions with you.
Oh, so you look at that differently. So the
Absolutely.
consumer obviously
Because-
looks at that as a great thing.
Because all that's showing me as a seller is you're a difficult motherfucker to do business
too many
with.
things.
You're trying to put
around.
your spin on everything, and you're like, and then you're bragging like, oh, I got this knocked off. Home inspections is not a time for fucking renegotiation.
Which a lot of people
It's
think.
not.
You know, a lot of people
It's
think
not,
that, right?
And a lot of the really good agents that I deal with, they're like, okay, like there was like, something small, like
And
these small
listing
things.
agents already have inspection reports done.
There's-
They're buttoned up. So it's like
there's these small things. It's not a big deal. And they're like, hey, listen, not a big deal. I'm gonna call. I know who the builder is, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, no problem. When you come at me with a bunch of bullshit, or you just send over a fucking list, the whole home inspection, you're like, here you go, and it's like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Well,
First off, this is bullshit.
that's a strategy of
right?
some people.
This is
right?
fucking
Yeah.
absolute bullshit. I'm not doing. So my response always is to Jen, tell them to send over the cancellation of the agreement of sale. Fuck your deal. I don't
It
give a
kills
fuck.
it. Because
Fuck your
what?
deal.
Just because you don't want to go through 30 days of your life dealing with someone.
Because now you're putting those people in a situation where there's you're creating this animosity where they're walking through their house. The client doesn't need to know everything.
Totally.
Right?
Too much information is not always a
some
great thing.
things you need to guide your client. Your client shouldn't be running you. You should make sure that is a happy transaction for these people who are going to be living in this house. If you create this negotiation back and forth, oh, we're going to get this and we're going to get money knocked off and this and that, you're an asshole. And number two, you're creating this animosity in a situation that could just simply be handled by a fucking phone call.
Well, and
a
you're setting,
simple, fucking, clear phone call.
you're setting
That's it.
expectations that are wrong again, right? Like, and I don't know the ins and outs of every agent's job, but listen, agents and buyers go into contractual agreements of sale thinking time of inspection is when I'm going to get 5K knocked off, 10K knocked off. That's setting the wrong expectations because
I'm at the point now, it's fucking hilarious just because I'm a fucking weirdo. I will purposely leave things that see if the home inspector catches it, that they don't.
I was going to say,
that they
I
do
know he
not
leaves
fucking
one
catch
like great, like
layups.
wide open.
I leave
for it.
fucking layups and they don't fucking catch them. And then like, the people don't realize that like, I'm like, okay, there was a vent missing. I'm going to fucking put the cover in there before closing. Now, if you come at me with a bunch of bullshit, I'm not doing fucking nothing for you.
Sure.
Like you're coming at me with a bunch of bullshit. Like get out of here.
Yeah,
It
but
just-
I mean, most people come and they negotiate. I mean, the agents now are great at some of the way they negotiate.
Dude, that's why you have agents that have been in the business forever, like Al Labruciano, Matt McGill, like you have Lisa Murphy,
They're
like all
total
these
pros.
people
They're
that have been
all
around
great,
forever.
right?
They'll call me, hey Nick, got an inspection report back, or like they'll call Jen and be like, hey Jen, or is it alright if we talk to Nick too? Yeah, sure. Put me on speakerphone. Yo, what's up? Hey, we got this. My clients were with this. All right, no problem. I'll take care of it for you. That's it. Yep, that's it. Okay, thank you. Cool. See you on the next transaction. It's like
It's when you come in
because
what?
there's
Expect-
because
when
there's
you come in
relations. It's when you come back at me like some fucking dickhead and you want to negotiate, like renegotiate all this stuff, and you're acting like this crazy. Stop creating these negative environments for these clients.
Yeah.
Come back normal, like a normal business transaction. Hey, these are the things. Boom, boom, boom. Can you work on this? Yeah, sure, no problem. But like, if you underbid me and we're like, hey, okay, we'll sell it to you for this number, but this is like your inspections are for informational purposes only. We're not doing anything. You bought it at this number. We're not doing a fucking thing. Like, can you close quick? Cool, right? 5-10 grand under, no problem. But I'm not doing anything for you. And then you come back with like a list of things like, yeah, we spoke about this.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? That's the type of shit that like I just don't like.
And that's probably the lack of communication back and forth. You're probably
Well, it makes
promising
it-
one side something and asking the other side.
It
when
also
it's not.
proves to me that the agent is ran by their clients. The agent is not, guiding their client in the correct way.
You said something that you said that very thing earlier. That's very important, right? And we've all done it in a career. I do it every month. I let one client, it seems, beat the crap out of me. I don't know why. It's just human nature.
Not worth it.
They can make your life a living freaking hell. Be the professional. You've done your job for so long. Guide the client. They're calling you for a specific reason. Now, trust me, I have some smart transactional clients that make it very clear this is a transactional thing. I need this number. If you can't deliver it, we can't work together, which is fine.
Okay.
I'm fine
set
with numbers
that-
like that. They set the
set the
expectation.
precedence, yeah.
And guess what? Good news is my rates always beat everybody. So I'm cool with that. Like, that's where my margins are currently set, where I don't need to be a pig in shit. I don't need to make a ton of money off every deal. I want more and more deals and help more and more people. That's my business model, right? I don't need to make 10 grand off every deal. 4,500, that's cool with me. And then he's going to ask me for 3 more friends because his rate was better, right? So that's getting back to that deal. That's exactly what we do here. It's like, okay, if the market is at 6.5, we get you a 6% rate. Why? Because I'm taking less money. Our team's taking less money. Some cases it might not be that. Your credit might suck. You may not have the ability to do that. All these things matter, right? We're not magicians in the sense that we can just make up and do anything we want. We curate and build these deals to fit the buyer, fit the builder, fit the lender. That's how it works. I mean, that's really, and it facilitates a deal. So in this case, like, you find a house, single family home, he gets in there, rebuilds it. I get the pre-approval together. We're closed, and we got a new homeowner in about 35 days here. So this guy's getting home-cooked meals dropped off at his house. I mean, this is good living.
She hasn't brought me any meals yet. What's up with that? Is that all right? I like to eat, clearly, as you can
so
say.
I mean, like, these things are great, right? And people always say, well, how the hell did he do it? Everybody's different, right? Everybody's holding different money. Everybody's showing different income. But the only way you know is if you call. And,
I mean, we're not going to put his finances out there or nothing like that. But
we're going to put up specs of like what this thing looked like.
It wasn't cookie cutter.
No.
It wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't easy for you. And I know it wasn't easy for Danny because he was constantly like, man, I had to go get this paperwork. I had to go get this. I had to go get this from the bank. I had to go do this.
Yeah, because guess what? Man, like it happens in a thing we weren't already.
You ain't no ideal lendee, man.
Yeah, exactly. Because we weren't already. And guess what? My team, sometimes it's on us for sure. We over-document things, especially with self-employed borrowers. Underwriters get skittish, right? They want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Because
so then that way you have everything, like an overabundance of stuff. Here you go.
Because we get audited, right? Like someone will jump back in the file and say if our buyers, we stretch and pushed for a loan and they start missing payments, well, that reflects poorly on us. Now, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Dude, I'm not an ideal person to lend to. Like,
no,
and here's the thing, like, I think we can say that I obviously make a lot more money than Danny, but it's
Dan. It's like that.
No, I'm a lot older than him. I've more established in savings and all that stuff. And even me, I am not an ideal lendee because I scare banks.
Sure.
So banks would rather see you make, I'm just using this as a round number, 50 G's a year consistently for the past 5 years than have 500 grand in a bank and your tax returns are like this.
Especially if your income's declining. Declining income in our world is scary. So then if you got 500 grand in the bank, we start talking bank statement loans. That's when you know your docs are messed up. So that's the kind of thing. But again, these alternate...
Like I'm doing a portfolio thing right now, and they just came back with more questions like, oh, can you explain this property? Can you explain this property? And Jen's like, yeah, she has to email all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And they want all this extra stuff because I scare banks.
But in the traditional sense, again, remember, these are government insured loans. So it's like, if you're paying taxes on it, that's the safety for them. Yeah. If you're not, there's so many creative non-QM financing terms, which you got to reach out to us for, because I mean, as we wrap up kind of this episode, I want to show our area, which we love to do. Like, it's a lot of hospitality, a lot of police and fire, a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors, like all different streams of income. As long as your credit's tight, or not even tight, it could be 600. 580. You can go to 580 on some credit. There's some non-QMs that go low.
But you work with credit repair people too.
All the time. We never
credit repaired.
Think of it this way, right? If a person calls you with a 580 credit score and they make 6 figures, why would I turn them away and just say, hey, you're declined? I say, hey, right now you're not getting an approval. But if you call my credit repair, like, we can do it most times. If it's out of our scope of expertise, they put together
sometimes
2-3 month
repairs, it's a simple thing.
It could be the easiest thing. Take yourself off as an authorized user. Like, so people start throwing money at debt and then get overworked. Just make a phone call. It's credit. It doesn't get better unless you attack it. So that's one of the easiest things in the transaction.
And we've done plenty of these transactions where literally people will hit you up or hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, I want their house. I saw them work on this house," and that's how I'm always putting out these videos of these homes. And I know it's annoying you got to put content out there, but people will reach out and we get them the deal, and it's great. Look, the best people are the ones that are like, "Hey, I've missed out on 12 fucking deals.
Yeah.
I want this house of yours," and you're like, "Okay, listen, what budget did you have in mind? I have these houses available. No, I want this one. Okay, well, I was going to list it for this one. What do you want to pay me so nobody else has it?" And like they come look at it and like, listen, I want this. How can I make this work? And it just seems to be like they're the best people.
They're the
because
best ones, right? Because they just want, they're fair. They
Yeah.
just want something to live. They don't want to be in the school.
and they've missed out.
And they
already.
missed out. So but we're not operating out of desperation. We're operating, again, out of what they want. Lower credit scores sometimes come in at 3.5% down and get 6% assists. We close houses all the time for $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just by asking, right? Like, so having a lower credit score is not always a bad thing. It actually sometimes in our world gets you more of what you want.
And agents should reach out. And honestly, like mortgage lenders should reach out to me too. Like, I mean, not
Mortgage
to-
lenders, chill.
not
Take
to,
it easy.
Not to you cut you out of stuff, but if a mortgage lender reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I have a client and they've lost out on properties and they're well qualified," the first thing I'm doing is texting you like, "You know this mortgage lender?" You're like, "Oh yeah, they're a good dude."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like,
And
how
we
many
do. We
times
work- I mean,
how
we
many times
work
have we done that?
tons of times.
Or you're like that fucking dude's an asshole. Like, okay.
What we look at is obviously the big banks, the speed, the bullshit pre-approvals, like, some of those things. We analyze deals all the time. We can underwrite a deal before it gets under contract for you just by kind of looking at it, running through the particulars.
I've never had a person come to me that was using bigger banks and I say, "Wait a minute, don't use a bigger bank. My lender will, I guarantee you they'll beat anything that they got going on right now." I've never had someone come back to me and say, no, my bigger bank beat them. Not once.
It
One fucking
generally does not happen unless you'll see credit unions come into the market. Sometimes to fill a portfolio up, they might drop you like
They were killing the refis.
Yeah,
for,
exactly.
yeah,
like
PF
police and
they
fire
were
was
killing
the
the
express
refi as well.
refi game,
Yeah.
but that was their business model. They did about a couple hundred purchases that year. They did thousands upon thousands of express refis because the purchase business is risky for them. Why wouldn't you just portfolio a paper instead of going out and lending more when you don't really need to?
Yeah.
Which is ultimately the moral of the story here is there's so many creative financing options. It's just not, hey, I work at a job, I make 75 grand a year, I got student loans. It's not the way of doing things anymore, right? There's the more people you chat with in our world, in our sphere, the more you learn and the more deals and the more opportunities create themselves. And the very worst thing that we could say or Nick could say or anybody is, hey, you're not ready yet. No, but here is how we get you there. It's the lender that says, hey, no, and doesn't answer your phone call is the one you don't want to work with.
The other good important thing about working with the people that we work with, whether it's Chris over at Class for title, you for lending, right? All the agents that we work with, the people that we work with, I can guarantee to you this is that they're going to answer the phone after the deal's over.
Always.
Right? If there's ever a problem with mailing, right? Things happen. Sure. Clerical issues happen, right? A water bill, water problem fucks up all the time, right? The people that we deal with answer the phone and they rectify things and they won't blow smoke up your ass and not like that. Yo, no problem. Yep, there's a clerical error there, and this address was typed in by mistake. Whatever. Boom. Something simple. Where if you use a big bank, good luck. Good luck. It's 6 months before you figure out that your fucking bill was going somewhere to to your neighbor's house or something like that.
No doubt about it.
When it goes through you, all that stuff's fine. When it goes through Class, all that stuff's fine. And when it goes through the agents that we deal with, everything is fine because they all answer the phone. If you have an issue with one of the houses that we do, and things break, it's the nature of the beast. Things break, right? If it's on me, I'll be there to fix it.
Sure.
If it's not on me, if it's on normal wear and tear of a house and all that stuff and unforeseen issues is like a lot of old homes and stuff like that, like shit happens, or I might not even have touched this certain part of the area. Well, not for nothing, it's like welcome to home ownership. But there's also times where it's just like, I'm just like, hey, you know what? We'll fix that for you. I'll send a painter in, boom, do this and touch something up. Does a roof leak happen? Absolutely. Our climate sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Things happen.
So like shit happens, but the people that we work with are all stand-up people, and they will answer the phone, and they will help you out.
Yeah, and look, on the lending side, we're the same way. 7-day post-close, 30-day post-close to get your payments set up. We offer refinance options. We have reinvestment strategies. What we like to do when we close a transaction is a young self-employed homeowner now, business owner, well, what's the next step for them? They want to get their, POA in line, their power of attorney together, their will together. They want to start investing in the market. We link them up with our certified financial planners. We link them up with our attorneys. Our sphere of influence is just more guys like Nick, but in different aspects of what happens when you buy a home. Like
I've heard it numerous times where people come back to us and they're like, hey, that guy you recommended, he did this for me. I recommended to 3 other friends and he helped them out too.
Amazing.
or she helped them out.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many deals we close. That's the testament of what you do.
That's the people that I deal with.
And
I'm done with dealing with people that aren't like that.
Well, because look, I
don't give a fuck about the money. I'm not driven by the money.
We're late in the game. We're like veterans now. Even after a summer off, I feel like, damn, we're approaching 20 years in the game now. Yeah. But it makes life easier, right? You work with people you like. You work with people that answer the phone, that are transparent, and then it gets you business. In closing, I mean, I can't tell you how many of your clients have just called me without your knowledge and just said like, hey, I'm buying another thing. And I'm like, God damn, Nick recommended me this guy like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're clients for life. And, for our young business owners that own this beautiful home, like, congratulations, man. Like, hard work does pay off. You link up with the right people and ask the right questions. It can happen to anybody.
When you're not driven by the money and you're driven by doing the right thing and having good business transactions and liking to sleep at night and liking to do more transactions with people, when you're driven by that and doing the right things and refining your processes, business is easy.
And then the money comes. The money follows easy. And you're like...
It's a byproduct of that.
Absolutely.
And I preach that all the time. I say it to Danny about business. I say to anybody that owns businesses, like, if you only focus on the money, you're going to end up like all the dudes that we grew up with that ended up on pills and dope. Because that's all they were worried about was the money. And then the money fucks your brain up and you start making fucked up situations and decisions. And then the next thing you know, you're on fucking, I mean, that's an extreme, but you're on fucking dope and your family hates you. So like, how many people have we grew up with like that, Whatever. What I'm getting at is like, just do the right thing. Conduct your business how you want business conducted with your family. And I mean, listen, all the fucked up things that growing up under my family and the things that I've heard. But the one thing that I can say is that my father always said was like, treat people how you want the women in your family to be treated. Everybody you encounter, treat them how you would want the women in your family to be treated. So like, that's one thing that's always stuck with me.
Sure.
So it's like, conduct business in the right manner, and the money is just a byproduct of you being better at your business.
And look, we all get into it. You're chasing money. Like, that's it. It starts kind of that way sometimes.
It's fucking cancerous.
But it will. It over the life of your career, it will ruin it multiple times.
Because if you're thinking about the money, and going back to this house, like, and any other house that I analyze, if you're thinking about just the money, you are going to make the wrong decision and you are going to fucking lose. And you might not lose on this one, but you're going to lose eventually, and you're going to lose on the next one. And it's going to, when it hits you, it's going to hit you like a fucking ton of bricks, and it's going to ruin your fucking life. So when you just don't get emotionally involved in money, like, don't just it's transactional and fucking do the right thing. Like,
well, how about this? It's easier said than done. So the easiest way to not worry about it is just hit us up, right? We want to go through these options. We practice what we preach here on the Atomic Show. We got a guy in here right now behind the camera in a beautiful, beautiful home, and we can do it for you guys.
That he didn't think that it was possible.
Really didn't. And it happens like boom, in like 60 days, it goes from this to this. And then guess what? I'm just getting referrals from it.
It went from being like, man, I would really want this house one day, to like, you guys sure that I can buy this house, to being like, man, this is the best fucking decision I ever made.
It's amazing. It's inspiring, one, because younger guys in their 20s and early 30s buying homes at a pretty expensive, clip. It's inspiring. Right?
I drove by yesterday. His dad had his fucking truck out here with the tires off working on it. Like, even his dad's happy because he's got a driveway to pull into to like change his own. His dad's a mechanic.
It's amazing.
So he's able to change his own brakes and do stuff like that. Like everybody's fucking happy.
It's inspiring. It makes the world go round, dude. So then that's the way a transaction should feel. It should feel right after we're done. But dude, it feels good to be back. I'm really excited to be back for another couple shows here. We got plenty more coming.
But pretty soon he'll be able to afford more furniture for the house.
I know. And we're going to do a nice walkthrough. So, well, again, Ryan Dolan for the Atomic Real Estate Show with my host, Nick Cesna here. We will see you guys later. And again, happy birthday, Sloan Courtnick, 10.
If you enjoyed our episode, please consider supporting the show by rating and reviewing the podcast. Also, check us out on Instagram at Atomic Real Estate Show to find out when new shows drop and to participate in our community Q&As. The Atomic Real Estate Show was brought to you by Direct Subs. Direct Subs is the #1 place for real estate investors to connect with local contractors for their flips, rentals, renovations, and new construction projects.